Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us for a special Friday episode of the Firing Range podcast to talk about all things Destiny, weapons, abilities, loadouts, and the sandbox at large. What's up, y'all? Gentlemen, how we doing tonight?
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday,
weekend.
Oh, it is a Friday. Even though you said it.
Yeah.
I didn't quite take it in.
First ever Friday show.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. We figured we might have painted ourselves into a corner on this one because about a week-ish ago, Bungie mentioned on Twitter that the upcoming TWAB would contain the raid release date for Season 18 and would contain, how did they phrase it? Quote, like a small note about the future of PvP or something like that. And we kind of went, interesting. Well, the TWAB comes out on Thursday. We record on Wednesday. Wouldn't it be fun if we waited until Friday
dude,
to talk about whatever it was they were going to reveal? And
like a boat's a boat, but the mystery box could be anything.
It could be anything. It could even be a boat.
Yeah, I mean, broad sentence.
And the TWAB basically gave like a PhD thesis about their upcoming changes to matchmaking and nothing else. So we're gonna have an interesting night to talk about things mentioned in that TWAB. I don't know about you guys, but we've talked about we being like the community, each four of us individually, everybody. We've been talking about matchmaking for like the last 10 years. Like it's just it's a never-ending conversation, and it makes me want to take a Phillips head and ram it into my ear. So feeling like I painted our whole group into a corner on this one, so I do apologize in advance. But F it. Let's talk about it. Why the hell not?
That was a gruesome image, Fallout. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was graphic. It's Friday, Drew. All right.
It definitely goes beyond Destiny. And just for the record, I just got back from a little vacation and I am sick. Tested neg for COVID, but it could be anything. So I'm kind of just hanging in there. I'm at the firing range, not exactly firing, but I'll say a thing or two from time to time.
Cammy, we appreciate you. And if you want to just sit there and look pretty like an anime cat boy with
beard
with that pillow there, stroke the beard every time we make a point. We'll carry the load, brother. But we're glad that you're feeling good, and I'm glad that you've tested negative for COVID 2 times. I hope you're just sick with
abundance of caution.
Yeah.
GG's in the chat.
GG's in the chat, baby. Yeah, we got Drew here. People in the Twitch chat being like, "Oh my God, it's Drew." I feel the same way every time I see him.
The legend himself.
The man, the myth. Shook. So let's talk like 30,000 foot view. TWAB comes out. We see that there's going to be talks about matchmaking. Do we have super overview thoughts? Should we actually read for anyone at home who has not read or heard? If you like only listening to podcasts and stuff like that, if you don't read the TWAB, should we just give them kind of an overview about what the situation
Quick
is?
overview.
Summary would be nice.
Summary.
Okay, I'll do a quick little summary here. Because there was confusion in my Twitch chat today as well. Someone was like, "Oh boy, I can't wait to finally go flawless." I was like, "Well, they're not changing it there." So here's the deal. Bungie really wants to try and shake things up and get, what do they phrase, like better, more competitive matches, or they want, here we go, what they consider to be a high quality match in PvP. So beginning in Season 18, which if you don't know, begins August 23rd, I think.
Second?
I think
Ron Burgundy?
August 23rd, pretty sure.
Okay.
Beginning of Season 18, they're going to be introducing new matchmaking changes for PvP. It's going to be their first wave of their grand plan to continue tweaking matchmaking well into Season 19 in pursuit of, quote, high quality matches. So pretty much in Season 18, what they're going to be doing is, I think for Control only, just for the Control playlist, they're going to be turning on, quote, loose skill-based matchmaking.
That's a key word.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that later. That's a key word.
I can read what they wrote here in the TWAB regarding, quote, loose SBMM. If you hear us mention SBMM or CBMM and you don't know what that is, just shorthand for connection-based matchmaking or skill-based matchmaking. So loose SBMM has a wider starting skill similarity than survival and should result in matching with a wider variety of players, while also eliminating some of the frustrations we see in our current system. Expect loose SBMM to expand to other playlists in the future as we tune what we consider a high quality match by gathering real data and feedback from you. So basically, we're going to get a test run of loose skill-based matchmaking in Season 18, and based on the data, based on the player feedback, they're going to continue to tweak things until they, quote, feel they're in a good place. So how do we feel about that? I know we're just kind of right into the deep end on that, but...
Okay, I'll start.
Yeah, go ahead.
We've talked about it. We've had this conversation for about 7 years now.
Yeah.
All the way back in D1.
Sure.
They've had times where they've turned on skill-based and off, but every time that they have turned on skill-based, it has been extremely strict. Extremely strict.
Yeah.
And when I played D1, before I went to like full content creation, I played a lot of Rumble. Like I was a top 20 Rumble player in all of D1. Like I loved it. I don't know if you know that about me.
I didn't know that about you, actually.
I used to go meta hard in the paint every game. Not anymore. I've changed my ways. But I would get these games that had the same guys, and it would take 14, 15 minutes to find a match. And past that, it would send me to orbit. Couldn't find a match. But I'd find these guys. One was in Dubai. One was in Scotland. And the matches were just terrible, dude. And like we played each other so much that we became friends. And we started talking about where we're from. And we're like, dude, like... no wonder, like whoever pulls host is winning. Like that's what it came down to. So my thoughts,
quote unquote host.
Yeah. my thoughts has always been when it comes to a public lobby, there should never be strict skill-based matchmaking ever.
No, you say strict.
Strict like that, dude,
Okay.
because what it is, because we all do, they even said it in This Week at Bungie, that we do have an MMR, we do have an ELO that's hidden. They also said that we would never see that, but it's there and it helps placement. But it was so strict, it does it within a percentage, right? They have to be like right on top of each other to match skill.
Yeah.
And, in theory, that is going to get a really good match, but that should be reserved for a competitive setting if you're going to do that. Like that's strict. So they use the term loose, which I'm always going to, I'll give it a shot. It's fine. I mean, Destiny lobbies are Destiny lobbies, but there has been a lot of blowouts. There's been a lot of really bad matchmaking as far as team balance. I'm pretty sure you guys have played games where one person will have 30 kills and then you'll see a 7-4-2-0 and a couple people dropped out, right?
Sure.
That's never good. But that after they released this week at Bungie, I'm not going to get baited into it anymore, dude. Like I'm saying the same thing I've said for the past 5 years. If there is a competitive setting, that's where the strict needs to be. But there does need to be some blockers in place for players. A lot of people play this game. I mean, dude, Solstice is making people play the Crucible or Gambit. But when you go in there and somebody works 40 hours a week and they don't really play Crucible, there's no reason that they should match the 4 of us at a fire team. I don't think that there is.
True. Yeah,
right?
That is true.
Because there has to be a middle ground, and I think that's what they're trying to find. But as far as their parameters for loose, that sounds good on paper. Yeah,
I'll jump in before you run out of breath, there, buddy.
Oh yeah, one more thing, and it's what I wanted to bring up. Like Call of Duty is a really good example of that, dude. They started really
of what?
Strict skill-based matchmaking.
Strict SPMM.
Yeah, like it comes to a point to where it's not really fun for anyone.
Yeah,
and they did it in Warzone too.
I like that they put in the word loose, which I'm open to. I mean, we don't have a choice. They're gonna do what they're gonna do, right? But here's my thing. I feel like this is every time. Here's one of the reasons why I don't enjoy talking about matchmaking. It's because I feel like it's a lose-lose situation. Because if you were to view the extremes of both ends of the PvP playing spectrum, or both the D2 community spectrum of people who occasionally or frequently play PvP. If you say that if you're like no SBMM, then you get people saying things like, just because you're a toxic content creator, you want to go in with a squad with the boys, you want to pub stomp and inflate your elo. I get it. And then if you say, you know, yes, SBMM, it's like, oh, good, great. Dick riding Bungie and, you know, yada. It's like, I feel like I can't win when I have this conversation.
Not going to get baited into it.
Which is why, like, I'm glad that they're at least clarifying loose skill-based matchmaking. Because here's the thing. I know for a fact that if you're a new player or if you're just bad at PvP and you're like, I'm just going to queue in to kind of complete my Solstice quest. I want to get some kindling, right? I got to play, what, 25 games of PvP? I'll hop in, you know?
That Ash, baby.
And then they roll into a fire team of like Frostbolt, ZK Mushroom, like Pure Chill, Grenader Jake, right? It's just, they're not going to have a good time, probably. Odds are. And they may even kind of rage quit the game forever. I think Bungie has actually mentioned, didn't they come on our show one time and one of the comments was like, we've looked, and if this is from a different quote, then please correct me. But I think someone from Bungie said, like, we've looked at data that indicates when people quit the game forever and never turn it back on, there's a high percentage of times that it has happened after getting their nuts kicked in PvP from like a bad, am I making that up in my head? Did they mention that on when we had them on the show?
Look, we've been playing this game for 7 years. I'm sure it was said even as an off comment somewhere.
Yeah, in a State of the Union or whatever, doesn't matter. So I get that it's very important to make sure that things are, you don't want to cannibalize your community. Do you know what I mean? It's important to not do that. But on the other end of the spectrum, I got to tell you, it really, really blows when you try to match up. It takes a very long time to find a match, and then you go in and the connection is garbage because they're very strictly prioritizing putting you within like a one door, you know, neighborhood distance of someone at your
level. We call that the mongoose enclosure. Back in year one,
when they put you in the mongoose enclosure,
search like 15 minutes and didn't find an appropriate match, it would send you back to orbit and error code mongoose.
There you go.
And our record at the time, like peak of combat rating or whatever the hidden thing is, it was 3 mongooses in a row.
I do remember there were some people who had to wait about 30 minutes to get a real game, which is pretty bad. So I'm hoping that the goal is they can find a middle ground. I don't want someone to come into the game and have their first ever match of PvP be against a stacked God squad who just completely turns them inside out, right? And then they're like, wow, this game sucks. Fuck it. I'm going back to, you know, Genshin Impact or whatever. But I also don't want to I don't want to be mongoosed for 30 minutes while I try to find a match, and then I finally get put into a game and it's like a team of people from 5 different countries and the connection is garbage, right? So hopefully by Bungie's definition of quote loose, I think they showed a bell graph, a bell curve graph in the TWAB, right, regarding overall skill on like a numeric base of -1,000 to 1,000. Hopefully the criteria is wide-ish enough where people aren't completely getting their teeth kicked in, but the connection isn't just unbearably terrible. Does that make sense?
Yeah, my takeaway from that section was that there is a big enough skill diff that you're losing 90% against duels of that higher skill player. So if loose means I'm not in the same lobby as them, probably a good thing.
Yeah, and
we'll see though.
And I'm also really hoping that Bungie is keeping like a weather eye. I'm really glad that they're only limiting it right now to the control playlist for season 18, because that'll be their test bed, right? I think it's a really good, if they were going to pick one place, sure, control, because if they picked a different playlist, then people would just be like, I'm not going in there. So I'm hoping that they get good data that doesn't completely F everything up. I'm slightly worried, I will say. I do give them the benefit of the doubt, but I just don't want to be in a situation where they try something out and the majority of the player base thinks it might be not as fun or as frustrating, and then the player base numbers tank. Really, at the end of the day, whatever they do, as long as more people come into the game, I'll lean in towards that decision. Whatever, even if it's one that I maybe disagree with. If the player base numbers triple, I don't know if they would go that high, but if, in theory, if they changed matchmaking and the PvP player numbers like tripled, who am I to complain, right? Like, so
everybody would be winning in that one, at least a little bit more.
Yeah, I'll be leaning into that, but I'm just hoping that they're going to keep a really tight eye on the data, on the player feedback. I hope whatever it is that they're trying to do is beneficial for the community at large. And if it's not,
remind me when it's an appropriate tangent to talk about rewards and motivation, just for PvP in general.
I can lean into that right now.
Well, and also remember, player pop is everything, because like right now it's kind of fractured. There isn't too many people playing compared to, like, let's say when a season launched and you have Classy Resto, you have Omni and Lord of Wolves. There's people that are staying out. Yeah. So if they make a system to where a new season starts and the player pop is up to play that season, then they can start spreading it out with this loose skill base. Like right now, it'd be really tough to, because the people that are playing PvP love PvP. And if you're playing it right now, especially Trials every weekend, you got a love for the game, right? And KD's probably a little up there, so it's trying to match those in that system. So it's a little more difficult. Once the player pop goes up, it should be a little bit better. And next season, or whenever they implement this, like, is it next season that they're implementing?
Season 18, yeah, which is next season. Yeah,
I would encourage people to try it. In theory, it's going to be a different experience.
In theory, I came across a tweet that I really agreed with, and I wish I had saved it, because it was talking about the lack of incentive and how that ties in to like matchmaking and the PvP experience. And to me personally, it did ring true. And the shame of the matter is that the comp experience in D2 right now is a joke. To me, it's kind of evolved into control is the quote, quick play, go in and do whatever you want, test out a new loadout, test out a build, just kill time, kick it with the boys. And then trials, whether it is intended to be or not, has become kind of like the quote competitive with an asterisk playlist, right? The survival, whatever it's called, like whatever is intended to be the comp playlist in D2,
where the SBMM actually is right now. There is SBMM there.
Yeah, there is.
Right. And I can't remember the last time I willingly touched that playlist. I think it's been over a year.
Broadsword
for the Regix Broadsword.
Oh, maybe? No, it was Randy's probably.
Oh, Randy. You know what?
I'm the opposite when I'm off stream. I like the survival playlist. I like the map and mode rotation a lot better. If I play sixes, within 30 seconds, I got a lot of players leaving Disjunction or Dead Cliffs just because they don't like the way the map flows.
Yeah.
But in comp, since there's a quitter penalty, they can't do that.
Convergence.
The matchmaking or team balancing feels about the same as in the control playlist or the survival playlist. The difference is the game mode and how they play around the map lets me carry harder, which is a better experience.
But like, it's just such a shame that we have what could be a great playlist sitting there. And for me, I'm just not touching it because there's no payoff. Like I've mentioned in a couple of times on stream and on my YouTube channel that like, I feel like players will do ridiculous things if there is even a moderate amount of payout. If there's a little bit of juice, they will squeeze.
Look, Reed's Regret. First weekend Reed's Regret came out, dude.
Can I tell you that I streamed soloing? I did a solo flawless of every dungeon in this game. Some of it being borderline unbearable and like just slamming my head against the wall. Like when the Prophecy dungeon came out, like trying to solo flawless that right out the bat, that was pretty goddamn hard. And doing it while like 1,000 people in Twitch chat are kind of laughing both with you and occasionally at you sucked. But when you finish and I get that emblem, then I'm like, fuck yeah, I can put on this emblem and like, there it is. I kind of show off to people like, yeah, I did this really hard, awesome challenge and I can show off my prize right there. It felt good. People will do wild stuff in this game. There were times when I was trying to grind out the Redrick's broadsword that I just wanted to scream. Like, or was it the broadsword or the claymore? What was the original?
Claymore, dude.
The claymore. I'm sorry.
The first claymore is like the hardest.
Yeah, that was really hard. But when I got the claymore, I don't think a lot of new people out there realized how tiny of a percentage of people got the OG claymore.
12,000 got it.
And I'm one of those 12,000. And when I got it, I was like the release of chemicals in my brain that like I wanted to do if I was able to, I would have done a cami backflip right there in my living room.
You're a changed player just on how much it made you work.
And it's like, oh, like you rock that on your mantle, and it's so cool that you have that prize. But there's like, what is there offered currently in the comp playlist right now? There's nothing that I can think
Double
of.
Riptide drops, brother. That's
God. It's just like there's nothing. And even if it's cosmetic, like how I did the solo dungeon for the emblem. Remember back? I know everybody here played Halo 2, Halo 3. Grinding out for your 50 or whatever the highest number that you could achieve, and it would show right there on your name. So you go into that lobby, you're like, oh damn, this guy's got a 50. Like damn, like that was a point of pride. And I just don't feel that right now. And I wish that was there to give the PvP diehards more of something to chase than what we have. I feel like everybody ignores that playlist and they just kind of go for trials because it's something new and it's quasi competitive, so that's what they do.
And to further piggyback on the claymore, dude, you know, like in my opinion, PvE or PvP, and we're talking like day one last wish. Well, maybe just last wish in general in the first week. But like, if someone has the Redrick claymore ornament, they're bad, dude. Like that was like the hardest thing to ever get because you had to do it again. Right at your max 5,500, like insanity. And that, dude, I think that like of the 12,000, only like 2% got the ornament. Like there's only like 300 people in the world that have the fucker.
And I bet a lot of it was Recovs.
Probably a fair
it's
amount.
insane.
Probably
insane.
A fair amount. God damn. Drew, you've been fairly zen right now. I can't believe you don't want to weigh in on such an exciting discussion topic that has never been happening in the world of D2 before.
I'm thrilled.
Yeah, I know you are.
I don't know. A quick thing is, I guess, that come across in my mind is that I think that I understand people's reactions because, unfortunately, I feel like this is an area that Bungie, a few times now, has not really gotten right. And people are, you know, like, I cannot blame someone when they, like, when Bungie says SBMM and we go, because it's like, like, you know, the reality of it is the past iterations, especially from what I recall in D2, you know, it didn't really even feel like, I guess, as a moderate upper skill player, I believe, I didn't really feel like you know, like getting fair matches. It felt like you were being incubated and like, don't let this touch the rest of the community.
Sure.
And then your matchmaking, the queue times were terrible.
Bad.
Oh my God, I'd get iced just by sitting in orbit. It was crazy. And it's like, it's so jarring too, especially when you come off of a Mercy, you played a 2-minute game and then you're just sitting there iced. And then secondly, it's like the connection quality would suffer. And then it's like, there's this other aspect where like you are playing what feels like is supposed to be a casual, I say that in quotations, game, but then it's like, oh my God, it's super duper like sweaty or competitive. And that like kind of goes against expectations in many ways. And, you know, I see that in some way, yes, the game is always going to inherently be competitive. That is the point of it, player versus player. But that being said, you establish this area where it's like, oh, you know, rewards, nothing for winning. Hey, just play the game. And you get this weird thing that you have to tackle, which is people that are going to aim to pub stomp versus people that are going to, you know, just do whatever. And it's hard to juggle. But I get it. So I understand like when the community kind of like, you know, goes into shock with something like this because they haven't really nailed this system. I don't think it's felt not great for a lot of players in the past, myself included. That being said, I do think there needs to be some sort of an SPMM where it does protect those like really wide bands of skill. And I guess the way that I think about it is that for those really new players or players that are like just really inexperienced, it's like, what if even if you're a PvE player mainly, what if like, you know, you just took an interest in PvP and like you want to go in, but it's intimidating. I think for those kind of players, we want to encourage those kind of players to like get into PvP. There's a problem I think in the game right now where it's like, hey, so many people, you know, really like PvE, but it's like PvP is like really, really intimidating and like, you know, not exactly enjoyable in some ways because of that. And I kind of related to, I was saying a little earlier before the podcast, it's like if I somehow said I have taken a newfound interest in basketball, I've watched it on TV. I love watching basketball, taking a big interest in it, and I want to go play. And it's like I go to my community center or something, or like start wanting to play community games, and there's like I don't know, like this is so over exaggerating, but there's LeBron James there.
Yeah.
And he's just
the king
dunking on me, the king, man, and he's just
and
dunking
he stuffs
on me,
you, bro.
And he's just stuffing me, and I'm just sitting there like, man, I just want to learn to play some basketball, and like, you know, I'm just getting dunked on. You know, I'm not really learning anything. At a given skill level, you're not really learning anything. There needs to be a close enough band for you to be able to like play the game at whatever skill level it is, and then like take away something from people that are a higher level than you. Like just getting
this
like,
is the place for me to hop in when you're ready.
Oh yeah, and by the way, after LeBron beats you, he just talks trash to you for like 2 days. How you shouldn't have been there.
Now that is an accurate example. He's literally talking shit to your face while stuffing you. It's like your first day playing basketball. You're like, am I learning?
So
go athere. Ahead, Drew. Finish that thought. And I got this.
I'll let
no,
Cammy
I was just gonna say at that point, like I'm not gonna want to like. There's maybe I might want to keep interested, but I might come off of that in a really sour mood and be like, wow, I just suck at basketball. I am not doing that again. I'll stick to watching.
Maybe 1%
in the PvP community that it's like that like, you know, they'll just like, I'll stick to watching.
I would say
like,
that there could
like
be
in the Destiny community, I mean.
There could be a small percent of people who I would equate to me who are like motivated by anger and the drive for
spite.
Yes, thank you. Who would be like, fucking come back tomorrow, I'm gonna get better. I'm gonna one day I'll be doing the teabagging. But then like 99.9% of people are just like Drew, like you mentioned, just like, this is what basketball's like. I'm just not gonna fucking
like,
play anymore.
Like, I suck at this, and you don't want to do it. Like,
yeah, you just don't want to do it anymore because LeBron James just teabagged you in front of everybody. It's your first time touching the ball. All right, Cammy, jump in.
Okay, so this is about intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic being you do it because you like to do it. Extrinsic, you're doing it for a reward. And in Destiny, that could, I guess, be the Regix's Claymore, all the above. I want to talk about something else in that regard, formal education. This is an idea called the zone of proximal development. It's a educational thing where if you are doing something that is too difficult, you're not taking anything valuable out of it. But if it's just slightly more manageable, but still difficult, that's a great place to learn. And what I think PvP is missing is the stepping stones to get you competently competent in PvP and enjoy it. You're, like Drew said, showing up to the basketball court, getting dunked on by LeBron James, you're not going to learn anything.
That's exactly.
But in the right environment, it does not have to be in-game. It does not have to be head-to-head competitive. It could be like a training mode. It can. I do this in PvE all the time. A lot of the hardest content in the game is only available for one day on the raid launch. And so I have to limit test by going under light into GMs to test out a build to see if it's good.
Could you repeat what was the term that you used? I've never heard of that before. Zone of proximal development?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was like alluding to. I know what that is, but like I didn't remember what that was called. But that's what the example, like as much as I'm exadulating and like kind of being comedic about this,
Yeah.
or sarcastic.
I am dead ass a
that's
coach
what I'm
and
trying
I'm
to
going
clear.
to read
Yeah.
the one paragraph description of this. This is interesting. The zone of proximal development is defined as the space between what a learner can do with no assistance and what a learner can do with adult guidance or in collaboration with more capable peers.
So in the
Exactly.
case of Destiny, more competent teammates to assist you, or
I see.
less insane
Reasonable
opponents,
competition,
better builds and loadouts, better access to places where you can learn about it. In PvP, you're just thrown off a cliff. And there's nowhere to go. I mean, I guess there's private matches with a buddy, but it's not the same as shooting at bots and maybe bots that shoot back at you 1/3 of the time. So you can try to learn kill clip chaining on your own or something like that. It's just not there. In fighting games, you play intrinsically. There is no in-game reward. Maybe there's like a player skin or something. But a lot of the time, as a baby beginner, you are in the practice mode just learning the controls. And you're not getting dunked on by LeBron James. You're just playing a motionless AI. Then you bump up just to a beginner level on that AI, get a little comfortable, learn your basic combos, learn the basic rules of the game. Then you go to arcade mode. Same thing again. You run it back until eventually you're at a degree of competence where you can start joining a competitive scene in your local area. Then you get to a point where you maybe don't want to learn about one character. You want to learn about every character and the nuances, and just learning something new is that reward. Succeeding with something in a tournament bracket is that reward. And majority of people who play Destiny and even competitive Destiny just won't experience that because we don't have the stepping stones to be there in game.
And we talked about it right before. I mean, it's fair and it's not fair to bring it up, but Halo 3 did have a GOAT system. In ranked 250, when you were a 39 or 40, you played against other 39 and 40s, right? And when you felt yourself getting better, seeing that number go up, because it was a true MMR, 39 and 40 playing each other. And what was nice about that system is, remember people boost into 50s?
I do.
What happened is if you played against actual 50s in that, like you got humbled. Like
for the people who boosted, right?
Yeah. I mean,
smoked.
Yeah, your rank would fall back all the way to where you started.
You get smoked.
Yeah. So with that, they also said in there was a 2-sentence thing of saying that we do have skill assigned to you. Under that immediately is you will never see that skill in game. I'm thinking, for a competitive setting, what's wrong with seeing that skill in game? Like if they were to redo comp, Apex, Overwatch, Halo, assign a numerical value, assign a bronze, silver, a gold, and keep it close, right? Apex is really good at it. Overwatch is really good at it. Like once you get Diamond Plat, like you start getting up into like Apex Predator and Masters, like seeing that go up, knowing that you're playing like skill. I mean, there's some people that will peak out for a little bit. It's like, okay, I'm a Platinum 2 player, and they'll stay like that forever. Now it's up to them if they need to see what they're doing wrong, but they can't overcome that. They can get better. And in Destiny, it's just like, well, you're something. We're not going to tell you what it is. This player over here, he's something too. We're not going to tell you how good or bad he is. You're just going to have to figure it out. Like,
I have a great example for you in Rift recently. Once they made the changes to it, I fell in love with that game mode and the maps. And I was playing just because I enjoyed it. Obviously, I wanted to see a W to confirm to me that I am improving. But once I started doing the bigger brain things, like just walking away from the Rift and playing the clock instead, and just the nuances of when it resets and exactly what you can AoE, and you're trying to set your teammate up for power, I started winning. And that was the reward for me. Not the little hand cannon, the chode or whatever they call it, none of that. It was, by the end of the day, I looked at Destiny Tracker at the hidden MMR stats. Apparently, I was ranked top 50. Not a 50, top 100, but in the 50s. And I wasn't going for a high rank. I was just playing because I liked the mode and liked succeeding in the mode.
and you like dunking the spark.
Yeah, I like literally dunking on people with the spark. But you can quote me out of context for that. But all I'm saying is the environment of Destiny PvP would be a little bit better with that loose band of SBMM if they get the spectrum right, to push people into an intrinsically motivated state where they enjoy PvP more.
Yeah, I think that would be
One
great.
thing I'll say is that while I do think my personal opinion is that there needs to be some sort of loose, and I hope it means loose, SBMM that stops these extreme skill bans that like are beyond that, whatever the terminology that Cam gave. But at the same time, it's like, again, empathizing with a lot of folks in the community. When you see something like this, it's like, you know, you try it and try it again. It's been, we've seen some really bad iterations of this that have just really sucked the fun out of the game. I get it. Like I'm there too. And like at the end of the day, they're going to make this change. You know, they're going to do it. And they've given us more information and more of a breakdown on how it works than ever in the past. So I think that at least shows a little bit of effort in regards to it. And at the end of the day, now all it's going to happen is we need to give really, you know, we need to, I think, believe that there is a middle ground to be had that isn't the strict craziness and like incubate certain pockets of the community feeling that was before, but also something that's like beneficial to not like to retaining new players and inexperienced players that are looking to get involved and improve. And Bungie says that they're going to do frequent updates and talk about it and take feedback and whatever. And I think what there is for us as a community is hold them to that. Be like, you know what, we want in-depth updates. We want, like, you know, remember when they were doing the trials thing and like talking about like the flawless pool, and they gave like all this crazy information, maybe even more than that for this, I don't know, but really like they gotta deliver on that, I think, because there's a bad taste in everyone's mouth from this. Even though, like I said, I think I agree, there needs to be a degree of this. There is a bad taste in everyone's mouth, and I think that they have to do their best to like show that like they're achieving what really is a middle ground, that isn't like SBMM like craziness versus like you know, connection based Wild West. Doesn't matter. You know, they need to show that a middle ground is possible and like kind of win everyone over with this, I think. Yeah. The only other thing that I would say to transition to and talk about like Cool Guy's point about, you know, competitive is that, yeah, SBMM, I think the elephant in the room is really that like, okay, so we're going to have SBMM in a game mode with no rewards, no incentive to win. There's no quitting penalty. There's, at least in the game mode they're implementing it, right? On the most played average game modes. There's no quitting penalty, and there's no real place where, even if it was strict SBMM, there's no place to have that setting of like real competition. What if like, for me personally, like even when there's lower SBMM and other activities, I'm like, if there's SBMM at all, like honestly, I just want to go play in the place, even if it's harder SBMM, just find me in the place that's like the place for competition. I'm just gonna play there. If that's what the game is, even if there's a slight bit of SBMM, I'd just rather be in the place that feels like, you know, there's a number or something to climb, something to grind that keeps me at it, and it's like the place for competition. I'll just live there all the time. Maybe I'll do like a warm up once in a while and the other playlist and the social, and that's what all there, and I would go there. But the fact of the matter is that doesn't exist, and we're getting SBMM while that doesn't really exist.
Yeah,
and
that's a
the
problem.
Other thing that goes on to that is that, unfortunately, or you know what, fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know, but the reality is that Destiny and people or players in Destiny are accustomed to you get a reward from doing certain activity. So while it is very wishful thinking to think that like, hey, we're going to incorporate a competitive playlist and like, you know, it's going to have all the bells and whistles, I feel like you've really conditioned your community to expecting that there will be some sort of a reward for their time, whether it be cosmetic or something else. There's an expectation of that. I feel like that's just the game at this point, right? We as Destiny players have been conditioned and expect that. So like now you have to tackle that issue. So I don't know. It's weird. I think it's really odd in that way, that there's a lot of things that yeah, sure, this might be necessary, but there's a bunch of other questions now that it asks.
What's up, Cool Guy?
Yeah, two things. You know, someone said it in chat there. You know, a lot of that peak comp was Luna Not Forgotten. I think a lot of people felt they did actually feel their skill going up as they approach the finish line. But the issue with that, and we talk about rewards, like it was an absolute perfect case scenario of the rich got richer, because what happened is the really good players got mag howl, and just then everyone else like didn't feel like they could get to Luna and Not Forgotten. They were having an even worse time.
It's
right?
a very fine line, isn't it, between giving people a reward that is worth chasing, but also one that doesn't make the problem worse, I guess, or widen the gap, I would say. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yes, you know.
The second thing, and we talked about it earlier, Drew, and I'd like to hear you kind of piggyback off of it. Another good thing that the GOAT Halo system did, when you were in ranked, it matched fire teams. There was 4 to a team. If you were a 4-stack, you never played less than a 3-stack, ever. It never did. If you were a 2-stack, you might play a 3, you would never play a 4, but it would match 2s. If you're a solo player, it would usually be 2 3-stacks and then the solo. So if you were a part of a team, you wanted to go in 4. If you didn't go in 4, you wanted to go in 2, because then you're depending on other 2s, if that makes sense. I feel
you're doubling your chances to get 2 teammates with communication.
Yes.
It makes sense.
Yes. And in a perfect world, and you did, as you get up to 48, 49, 50, you would Xbox party chat as soon as you found your teammates, period. But I was thinking, man, I mean, this is only the Xbox ecosystem in 2009, okay? If it's able to match within the Xbox ecosystem in 2009, teams of 2, teams of 4, we have PlayStation, we have Stadia, we have Xbox, we have Steam. Why can't we do that in Destiny, dude?
That is really crazy.
I think it would alleviate a lot of the issues. I think it would alleviate a lot of the issues, dude. If you were to find 3s, match versus 3s, fill up the rest. You MMR the 3s, you MMR the rest. If you have 6 stacks, make them find 6. If they can't find a 6, they find a 5. It would help the game tremendously. And I don't know if that's possible. I mean, I'm a player. I'm obviously not a game dev, but I think that would help the game tremendously.
I think this is another dangerous conversation of seeing the pros and cons of freelance and trials versus not having freelance.
Go on.
And maybe the control playlist will have similar pros and cons. So like right now, if you are a very competent team in trials getting to the farther end of the cards, chances are you're matching the exact same team of 3 multiple times throughout your card, because the population just isn't there when the freelance playlist.
You're talking about when
players.
freelance is around, right?
Yes, when freelance is around.
When freelance is around, it's very the team's playlist is thin, because most people would rather take their chance rolling the dice than rolling up against a stacked squad for trials.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
I find myself in that same boat. I almost wish it would high prioritize the teams versus teams, but in a secondary sort of way, I would just search freelance and control all day if I could, to guarantee I never have to play teams.
Here's a portion that they mentioned in the TWAB regarding fire team size matchmaking and the future on that front. They mention we will be implementing a form of fire team size preferred matching in season 19, which I think we can all probably universally agree on is a good thing. We will be sharing details about how it works closer to release. Our goal is for it to be utilized like skill, sometimes as a strict requirement, sometimes a loose one, or sometimes not at all. I was kind of hoping that maybe they would do that first to see how that would kind of unfold. I do think it's kind of ridiculous that there's a chance for someone to go in kind of alone and there's like a high shot at just mashing a team of 5 to 6 people who are going full on ham. Yeah,
but I mean, they talk about multiple times of, better match outcomes. Like, what do you think is going to happen, dude? Like, what do you think is going to happen?
Shot.
There's no shot. Like, I leave the games now. And like True Vanguard was talking about the other day, like, dude, whenever I see a 5+6 stack, they win. Good job. GG's. You get your elo. I'm out. Like, what do you think is going to happen? It's not going to be fun for anyone.
Yeah.
So
it's yeah, I kind of wish that had come a lot sooner, but at least it's coming. At least it's something on their radar that they're looking at. And we'll see how that goes. But
zooming out here, thinking the at a glance everything, this is a multifaceted issue. It's not just get a loose band of SBMM and it's good. There are so many things. Like Cool Guy said, the amount of players in a team and the prioritization that gives, for me, map and mode, maybe the current balancing of the sandbox, maybe those educational tools like a training mode, firing range, or bot playlist or something like that, a real ranked playlist so we have a reason to try in a place that is different than Control, not the same. And so on. There's just so many issues, and if I had to like number them all, I don't know if I could, because they all seem so equally important to me.
That's fair. Drew, you
I
got
think
something?
another question that you know, so SBMM asked the question of like, hey, like, what about competitive mode? And like, I mean, like a competitive mode that is like that we're motivated to play.
Sure.
But another thing that, and I think that we all kind of like yearn for that a bit, you know, having an actual ranked or competitive mode that isn't just survival. Maybe that it's more akin to what Forsaken comp playlist was. Maybe it needs to be even better. But at that point as well, I feel like the thing that has to go up against at that point, it's like, again, I feel like this is like this one after another. It's like, oh, if there's SBMM, then why isn't there a place to really play competitively or like be in that setting then? And then if that exists, then like that needs to go through like almost a culture shift that goes almost not away from trials, but it has to find a way to coexist and be desirable as like with trials, and almost, I would imagine at least, be kind of accepted as like the like almost like the place for like, I don't know.
The pinnacle of skill, the highest echelon of players go here.
Yeah, I was going to
try
say
their
like,
hardest here.
like the most competitive experience of Destiny. And we need to ask ourselves, like, how do you not take away from trials, but how do you make them coexist and be desirable and entertaining for, you know, for all players? It's because I think a lot of like, you know, we like to play our little private matches, and we, you know, I still play survival and I have a lot of fun with that. But at the end of the day, it's like, you know, everyone goes from Friday to Monday and plays trials, and a lot of people watch and play it because it's entertaining. It's really entertaining, whether you're doing carries or not. It's entertaining for people, and there needs to be some sort of magic captured like that. I think if they were to introduce a competitive something or other mode, which it's, again, it's like I feel like this like almost slippery slope of things that like questions, like it just keeps asking questions, starting from like SBMM to this.
You know what it is? You know what it is? It's it needs to be tweetworthy. And I say that being like, yeah, Cool Guy's got a look on his face. So I'll feed you, baby bird. Don't worry, I got you.
Yeah, this is my wing.
So like, I am friends with a bunch of people. I've never played one game of League ever in my life. I've played a fair amount of Apex. I've played a little tiny bit of Valorant. But if you're thinking about a friend of yours who plays PvP for League, what are they tweeting out? What accomplishments are they tweeting out? I feel like there's a lot of accomplishment. When you hit an accomplishment in a certain game, you tweet out like, "Oh, I'm diamond." You know what I mean?
Oh,
remember, like,
yeah, you're right.
Halo
they
Infinite
will do a
came out.
celebratory tweet. That one guy on TikTok had a party just for me.
There you go. Halo Infinite, when people cared about that before the game kind of just collapsed for not being taken care of properly. But people really cared about, what was it, hitting Onyx, right? Like the Tweetworthy was like, "Oh, are you Onyx? Like, is it Tweetworthy?" And for D2, the only thing I see people tweeting about in regards to PvP is if they get a sweet loot drop, or I see a lot of tweets of people like, I got flawless. I got flawless. You know what I mean? Like I did so and so. So there's nothing to brag about. Like the things that are tweetworthy are tied to trials when there should be at least something tied to the competitive playlist when there's not. And the last time we had something like that, it was either the Claymore, or it was the Luna's, the Not Forgotten was tweetworthy. These are the accomplishments, the juice that people need to be going after, the carrot on the stick. There's nothing to chase. It's like that. It's a problem. It's a problem. You feel me? You feel
the
me?
last facet I was gonna say that's gonna be very interesting about SBMM is I think how it's going to potentially show, and I don't mean this to rag on the game, but the worst parts of the game more frequently. You know, I think that a lot of some content creators or like, some players are worried that like, oh man, it's just gonna be Lord of Wolves in every lobby. And it's like, when it's almost like a chain reaction, right? Like, enough people get tired of it, you're just gonna put it on, you're just gonna play meta all the time because you're facing diligently skilled players. And as soon as someone puts on the better option and they're pretty decently skilled or enough to kind of be in the realm of your skill, that means they get at an advantage, and then another person, and then it rolls and rolls and rolls. So I'm interested to really see how this is going to kind of show some of the more pronounced problems or potential issues in the sandbox. And then that becomes a question of, will they be able to address it at a quick enough pace that doesn't feel like it's turning people off of the game? Or hopefully, being an optimist here or being optimistic about it, hopefully it'll allow them to get a little bit more insight on that quicker. But
Good call.
there is, it's we'll see.
Well put, Drew. Well put. Any other comments on matchmaking? That was actually a much more productive discussion than
I think
that
that if we learn
years to
anything,
study this,
dude,
man.
the more that it is multifaceted. Like it isn't just one thing. It isn't skill based good, skill based bad. Like it isn't that anymore, dude. Like as Drew said, each iteration up until now hasn't been too good. Like it's been essentially a failure. But I say let them try this because PvP does need fixing, dude, on multiple fronts. And if they can get a good core baseline, they use the word loose, they kind of told you how they're going to set up their parameters. That can be built off of. It's just whatever they've had in the past, a lot of it got scratched, right? And even like there'd be weird times you see on that's another tweet-worthy thing. Did they turn on SBMM? Like
every single season.
It's because you don't know, right?
Yeah,
it's kind of so. I mean, it's more than just the basic SBMM good, SBMM bad, and there's always going to be. And Drew's right. Somebody's got feelings are going to get hurt one way or another. But there is a game out there of Destiny that's good for everyone, right? And hopefully Bungie's working towards that goal for everyone: new player, hardcore player,
goddamn
good player,
willing.
bad player. So
I think a shout out to my dad right here. Whenever I see him at the house playing Halo Infinite, he goes to Fiesta. It's just the party mode. So I feel that. I do that too. Like if I want to chill, go to the Scorch playlist if that's up in Destiny. There needs to be a mixed bag like that at all times. Just that have all the party playlists. Put SRL in there too.
Whatever happened to Action Stack?
Dude, Action Stack. What a wild time that was.
Dude, there was a VIP that someone did a custom map. Dude, you're like way above the map, and like it's just a little line trying to get a VIP to the end through these tunnels, dude. You're either the sniper or the VIP team. It was awesome.
The alt game modes, you're right. Griffball, Duck Hunt, Infection, etc.
Duck Hunt.
Man, all of those, man. Destiny can evolve beyond just shoot at dude, make sure they're similar skill, or the game isn't playable.
Risk runner only. 6v6.
Let's do it. Add
Risk
Forge
runner
mode.
Infection sounds
let the people
so
go
much
wild.
fun.
If you have any thoughts on matchmaking, we would love, air quotes, love to hear from you. Please hit us up on Twitter. No, I'm just kidding. If you want to have a productive discussion, sure, hit us up. You know where to find us on YouTube and Twitch and all that garbage. Except for Drew. Direct all comments to Drew to me.
Be sure to at LeBron when you do it.
Send all your Drew comments to Mercules. He'll take care of that. It'll be fine.
At LeBron, Drew wasn't too happy with your hypothetical game. Like, go chill.
I heard you teabagged Drew at the local YMCA. It's fucked up, bro.
Against LeBron.
Why did you do that? He doesn't want to play basketball anymore. He's this bright-eyed Canadian boy, and you dashed his hopes.
Drew's just gonna send him a gif of him with baby powder. Just
I'm gonna take his ass to Fiesta playlist. We'll be playing horse, and I'll still lose, but like it'll be closer.
So in maybe lighter news, depending on how you look at it, they did announce the date for the raid for season 18, August 26th, which made me do literally a triple take on stream. It was like they're dropping the raid 3 days after the new season goes live, on a Friday. On a Friday. Do you want to quickly discuss that very, very quickly?
I think the weekend is. I think everyone would agree the weekend's better. Let's also remember that back in D1, and I mean, they've done them on Fridays. So they tell you, I mean, you make the decision. Do I miss work for that day? Are they going to have server issues that day? That's why the weekend's a little bit better. Because if they do have server issues, you didn't miss work or anything. But those dudes, they have to be working 40 plus a week, right? And they're essentially saying they're essentially protecting the workers, and I'm okay with that, dude. Like,
because real talk, they're going to be up for more than 24 hours a piece if it goes the distance. There's just no way to balance that if you take it into starting Saturday.
I think a nice trade-off would have been if they're going to do a Friday, give more than a month. And I know a lot of people out there are like, but it's a month.
Yep.
That's so much time to, well, not for everybody. Like, not for everybody. Some people have really crappy employers, right? Like, it's not easy for everybody. And especially like, I don't know, students or something. If I'm okay with the Friday decision, but like, I feel like they would need to give maybe a little bit more than a month. And I know it's never easy. I don't want people, I know there's always talk online about like, every time we hear a story about developer crunch in the gamer industry, like all these poor employees had to work, you know, weekends for like months in a row to push this deadline. It's like, oh, it's horrible. But so we don't want people to suffer under the boot of extreme crunch. I do think it would be nice to maybe find in the future some kind of compromise. I'm sure there's holes you could poke in the argument I'm about to present, but like maybe if there's a situation where they do the raid on a Saturday, then like any Bungie employees who come in to, you know, make sure that if there are fires, they are promptly extinguished. Maybe they don't come in on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday the next week because it's like, oh, thank you for putting in that. You put in mad hours to make sure that this day one raid went off without a hitch. Extra days off for you or something like that. Some kind of compromise. Again, I'm sure that's not a completely perfect solution, but like I do feel bad that there are definitely going to be players out there who miss out on the raid because it's going to be dropping on a Friday and they assumed it would be dropping on a Saturday because the past however many raids have all been on a Saturday. And like if you were a gambling person, they probably would have bet money.
Hey, I'm gonna be an angry PvE gamer for a second.
Sure.
Why is it only one day that the raid is
48.
difficult? Like,
I would love 48,
why not just a
first of all.
selectable master mode at all times? Or the contest mode, I mean.
I would love to be able to.
Then it doesn't
turn
matter if you show
on
up on Friday.
contest mode whenever you wanted. It's such a interesting challenge. Contest mode, and then it's gone, and we never get to experience it again until.
If they do Fridays, I would like to see a 48 hour instead of a 24 hour. I mean, I think that's reasonable.
I didn't mind the 48 hour raid. I think that was fine.
That was a plus to me. A salty PvE discussion aside, I don't see like crazy prestige in it anyway. I'm a PvP head, so I'm okay with it either way.
Fair. Any other thing to mention about the raid? What we got a couple of questions on Twitter regarding. Usually we get a couple repeat questions on Twitter. There were like 6 questions. Like, so what raid do you think will return? Here's just one of them at Corey Noel. Yeah, what would you? Oh, I'm sorry, I misread that question. It doesn't matter. There's plenty of questions regarding what raid do you think is coming back. Do you guys what raid do you think is coming back?
I think they're gonna throw us off with one of the recent D2 ones that got vaulted.
No, they said it was a D1, right? A reprise.
Did they confirm?
I think they said it was a reprise D1. It's gonna be King's Fall, bro.
Oh, I remember the second part of the hypothetical salty PvE player discussion. If you care about players that you think are worth getting an emblem, where's your top 100? Get your placing. Then you have your placing on Raid Report forever. Let them have their fun too, man. It's not that big of a deal. The PvP players had to let the whole community get a broadsword for free by comparison to what it was. So just let them have it.
I hear people on Twitter being like, have you seen all these tweets about people that think it's going to be Crota? I'll be
I wouldn't mind.
shocked.
I wouldn't mind Necro.
Shocked if it were
And-
Crota.
Necro and Fang of Iryut. Wouldn't mind any of those.
I feel like Crota would be way too short of a raid. That's a short
At this
raid.
point, it's like a dungeon in length
Yeah,
compared
it's
to what
literally a
they've released
dungeon.
since then.
It's got to be
Remember-
King's Fall. What people talking about? Oh, please, Wrath of the Machine. Yeah, Wrath of the Machine is fun. I like
Why
it, but
King's
like,
Fall?
It's just gonna
What?
start off with 6 Omni
Why
Hunters
King's Fall?
going
Like,
through
why is
the.
that the prediction? Is there like a thematic
because
reason
okay,
for
so
this?
the two contenders that it's going to be, I would say the majority of people. If you had to guess 2 raids that are the strongest contenders to come back, Drew, what are the 2 raids that are in the strongest contention to come?
I mean, yeah, King's Fall.
King's Fall and
Wrath.
Wrath of the Machine. Okay. We've had no hint, no mention of Siva or anything like that at all. Meanwhile, we just came off a fresh plotline of dealing with Oryx's sister and the Taken. Like,
Yeah, we
it's-
already have Outbreak.
it's so we literally just
That's
fought
true.
Oryx's sister. We're fighting the family. All right. This is the Destiny storyline is currently in knee deep. Us versus the family. We're going through the fucking sisters and the brothers.
I'm gonna
How
have to
is
take
it
your
going to
word
be
for it.
Wrath?
Wrath? There's no.
I'm not right
Zen,
up.
baby.
Look, if it is Wrath, that's fine. I think that's a really fun raid. I love the death Zamboni. It's just a great raid, but like it's just I don't see it happening.
It
Y'all
doesn't make
already have
sense.
Crota at home, or sorry, at Dares of Eternity. You already have Crota.
Crota at home.
It's gonna be Crota's End.
Crota's end, baby.
Swear.
Crota's End, baby.
I can't wait to.
Yo,
Yeah, I'm just
Bro,
feeling. Yeah, that sounds
Radiant.
logical.
Hear the alarm? Woo. Just
Dude, I can't wait to pull out my Ethernet cord on Crota to make the. You guys remember that from D1? The infinite make Crota kneel down glitch.
Mm-hmm.
oh, I do. I also remember him walking into the room when he's not supposed to.
I'm getting some.
Wasn't there a
Discord
basketball
freezing
court in
here.
King's Fall? Then we can actually play against
Well,
LeBron.
that makes sense so far. That if you think it'd be King's Fall, I just didn't know if there's a thematic reason. And yeah, I mean,
Sure.
King's Fall.
No,
seems
it's
to fit
just
the theme.
it's just purely based on who
Okay.
we've been fighting so far in the campaign and the story. That's all. That's all.
Yeah.
Got time for just a couple of questions here. If you guys want to take a gander at the lovely questions we've gotten from the people on Twitter, if you want to pick out a favorite or two, we did get about a couple of repeat questions from people. For example, at Arska, give me your predictions for Arc 3.0 verbs. We got a lot of questions about people wanting more info or asking for our predictions on whatever Arc 3.0 is going to bring. It's kind of a tough one.
Tough.
Gotta figure that Arc is probably going to be based around like speed somehow. Yeah. Speed and like maybe chaining or something like that.
I'm praying that it's like Gemini Jester Flash built in. Like maybe Flash is a word. We'll see.
Flash, you mean like blinding people or something? Or?
Like blinding people, yeah.
I see.
Taking away their HUD.
I see. You know, isn't there an ability in the game where if you isn't that like Top Tree Storm or something like that? Or if you get your shields popped, then you get like a little speed boost, right?
Yeah, Pulse Wave.
There you go,
Pulse Wave.
Pulse Wave. That's gonna be I'd have to predict that might be some kind of theme, some kind of speed verb. What's a good speed verb?
There's Lightning Weave. on
Nimble.
Hunter.
Nimble. That's a great
Nimble,
one.
there you go.
Brings me back to Unreal.
Skedaddling.
Yeah, you get your shields popped, and then you get a couple stacks of nimble or something like that. I'm just trying to think.
I want Gunpowder Gamble, but with a Counter-Strike flash grenade. Just anybody who looks at it in the map, goodbye, radar.
There you go. That might be interesting. Let's see here. Let's see if I can find a question that is not related to. Oh, here's another one. Oh, this one's related to Arc, but whatever. At Logos Mojos, which class will come out with the strongest, most viable tools with Arc 3.0? I mean, I feel like that's.
It's gotta be Warlock.
Now, why do you say that?
Arc Weave, dude. I think it's gonna be. It has to be specific to Stormcaller. Because if they have an Arc Web and they have aspects and fragments go with Arc Web, it would have to be Warlock.
Melee lunge. That's gonna be something. No, something else, please.
Melee lunge.
Hunter will be pretty strong, no?
Yeah, I'll be maining. I'll be
yeah.
maining the Assassin's Cowl Deadly Reach.
Ah, the Assassin's
Strider, dude.
Cowl.
I will be maining it.
My
see.
vote is Warlock just because arc chaining still shows up at the highest level of PvP. It's not as popular anymore, but it does still show up. Most Titans have swapped to Sentinel. Most Hunters are on Void or Solar.
Shot out of a cannon. What is the one thing they could do to Arc 3.0 that would completely make any one given class way too strong?
Give Cloudstrike a catalyst. I said it.
That's... What? Like, imagine if they make...
It's too strong.
What if they were like, okay, Titans, Dune Marchers, they're part of the base kit melee now.
Yeah, I put it on Twitter. Like
That'd be
they have to do something about Risk Runner, dude.
They got to do
Preemptively,
something with Risk Runner for Arc 3.0?
I think that they would have for PvP only. Let's not get crazy. They would have to take away the DR.
It's not get crazy.
They would have to take away the DR. Like
Yeah,
I'm
probably.
okay with the superconductor, the chaining, but it's the DR. Dude,
Yeah, I could see that.
it like writing like it's gonna destroy any build craft. Like, why would you build an Arc 3.0 when I can hard counter you and go invisible with Omni or have Radiant and have class or restoration? Like, why would I do that just to like double up on my strength to really hard counter you? Like, I almost feel like they have to.
Blue Blaze in the Twitch chat. Blinking Titans. God help me, bro. Oh,
The
here-
joke
They
with
already
Arcs.
have it, man. It's called Syntheseps.
Oh, but it's like a thunder crash dodge in midair.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You're going to make me throw up. Here's one on Twitter from @Mizrath. How does Horror's Least, which is the current weekly Nightfall reward, stack
Let's
up
go,
with
cool
other
guy.
pulse rifles?
It's up there.
It's-
Stacks right up with them, dude. I think it's like a must-have. It's so good.
I
Oh.
finally used one today. Okay, so I got on my 18th drop, finally got one with kill clip. Do you know the
Kick clip?
math of getting 17 Horror's Least, none of them dropping with kill clip? Do you know the... Look me in the eyes, Drew. Do you know the fucking math? It's bad. Ooh, it's kind of a smoldering look there. That was the... He's been working on his blue steel. I like Horror's Least. I'm a fan of a well-rolled rapid fire frame, and I'm still going to continue to grind out over the weekend with Anno because she hasn't done any grinding, and I know she really wants one. So hopefully I get a better kill clip, but I did bring it into a couple of games before hopping onto the show tonight. Gotta tell you, feels pretty damn good. I am enjoying
It's so
it.
easy to use, dude.
It's pretty
It's
easy. Yeah.
Butter.
Pretty easy. What is the it feels like I also am a fan of the Darkest Before, which is kind of like
Prophecy Hell. I remember that.
Prophecy Hell. Yeah. It feels a little bit like that. And I remember that there were times where I was like, man, if only this gun could have kill clip. You know what I
Cool
mean?
guy mentioned a roll to me, steady hands and kill clip. That sounds so nutty.
Yes, that is what I'm going for. Steady hands kill clip and maybe perpetual motion kill clip. They both sound really dank.
It's great. I got it. It's great.
I have heating up kill clip, which is
It's
No.
awesome.
it's not bad. It's not bad. It's pretty fun, but we're not quite there with the role I'm trying to hit. So hopefully
Also,
we get
I
that.
mean, a small note, it's got that Vanguard Vindication. It after you get a kill, you get 7 health.
That
And
is
that
true.
sounds
Yeah.
that sounds stupid, but check it out. If you win a duel against an Austringer,
Mhm.
they hit you for 70. They hit you for 70. Their teammate has an Austringer. You kill them, they hit you for 70. They do not kill you.
Hashtag math.
Definitely shows up.
Yep.
It could be just enough
Health
to
is
save your
always
life,
good,
baby.
no matter how much.
Could be just enough to save your life. Drew, I know you're with your pulses, you're
distance.
more of a fan of the lightweight frame, right?
Yep.
Even with your love of the lightweight frame, have you been going for a Horror's Least, or is it kind of not on your radar because that's not the family of rifle that you enjoy?
The only pulses I enjoy using is like, the those pulses are very good. I think they're always quite good, and I think that the kill clip on that pulse is specifically better than on the BXR. I'm pretty sure. I'm fairly certain it's both more forgiving, and I believe a faster time to kill as well. So I'm inclined to say that pulse with kill clip is of course better. I don't know. But I've just never really enjoyed the rate of fire on them. It always feels more like a pseudo auto rifle to me. I just don't like the pace of it. Completely personal feeling and like not at all like I don't know, a factual objective.
Yeah.
Just, I enjoy the lightweight kind of cadence more, and then the high impacts is like my next go-to. It's either I'm using a lightweight or I'm using a high impact, either or. But it's no doubt. I've gotten shredded by it a couple times. It's an incredibly good pulse. Again, it's so forgiving.
Yeah.
Well, not forgiving on I believe your headshot ratio, if I'm like remembering correctly, but missing shots, you're getting to the next burst like ASAP, right? So
Yeah.
So it's also important to note that the kill clip BXR will to burst someone with kill clip. The Horror's Least will not always.
You
gotta be
does it
radiant.
depend on Resil?
Yeah, it's one. What? Because the kill clip. Let's look at it. It's 35, right? 27, 35.
I think. I can't remember.
yes, that sounds right. Sounds right.
Okay.
Yeah. So and then the rapid fire is 32 with kill clip.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 192. So there's a resilience
Wow.
check. So that's
and
another,
everybody runs high Resil in PvP now because it's the meta.
if you become radiant, it will 2 burst, but
Eh.
because it gets up to 35.
We got time for one more question. I'm going to combine 2 together. One from Psychosis on Twitter, who wanted to talk about Jade Rabbit, and one from some person named @Gleeyux. Don't know who that is. Is the gang buying or selling the hype on 150 RPM scout rifles?
Buying. Let me tell you why.
I would love for you to tell me why.
Pull out what is the gun?
EMT
You can-
Mida.
If you can pull it from your collections. Oh, all right, I can pull it up. It's the
That's not
old
compute.
Eternity of the Nine 150.
Oh, that gun.
Starts with a C.
It's on the tip of my tongue right now.
It was always like judicious stuff, right?
Trials of the Nine Scout. Let's see if we can find it. Purpose. You can pull the Purpose.
That doesn't begin with a C.
Samsonite. I was way out. No, I was thinking does
That's
not
not a
compute.
150 RPM though, is it?
There's a 200 RPM and a 150 RPM. Whatever one he's
What's the
talking
150?
Motion to vacate? Or is that the
Motion to
shoddy?
vacate. Whatever the 150 is, regardless. You can pull it from your collections if you got it. It has first of all,
Motion
was
to
the name of
compel.
this guy.
Motion to
motion
compel.
to
That's
so
it.
it did start with
That's
C.
it. That's it.
That's a win for me.
It's an M. There.
Well, the compel part.
Anyway,
keep going.
if
Motion
you
to
got
compel.
it,
Motion to
if you
compel.
got it way back when, pull it from your collections because it has drop mag, kill clip,
I'm
it's
actually
actually-
seeing that. And
Dude.
moving target.
and moving target. So moving
Interesting.
target, kill clip. So you can use an Iron Banner. Drop mag, moving target, kill clip. Great. Kill clip on the 150s do 99 to the head, dude. It's a 2-tap.
It's kind of gross.
Yeah. So I've been trying to get the Transfiguration. It's a 1 out of 4 shot. There's only 4 perks in that last node for Transfiguration. You don't even like. You used to need Rampage. You don't need Rampage anymore. To
You don't need
guarantee it, you can. But if you want to know what that feels like, dude, I was tearing people up with that gun, dude, on Midtown. They didn't know what hit them. They did not know what hit them. Pull that from your collections. It's there if you went and got it. It's incredible.
I've been meaning though to try out Jade Rabbit specifically in trials because I've seen a lot of clips on Twitter specifically coming from. Damn it! What is that dude's name? I keep forgetting him. He's a great PvP player. His name begins with an L. He posted a really sick Jade Rabbit clip on
Jade's good.
on Distant Shore. What is that dude's name? I'm never gonna forget myself.
Are you talking about Lonza?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Dawn Blade player.
There you go.
Remember,
Sorry,
cool guy
I
was
keep
saying
forgetting his name.
earlier
I gotta
in this
apologize to him later, but he's been posting
that
nasty
he
clips.
kept matching the same names over and over again in Rumble. I've had my fair share of running into people for the entire Destiny 2. So you kind of see names pop up from time to time.
Lanza. Shout out to Lanza. Yeah, he's been posting some sick clips. So I actually have to try out the Jade Rabbit. But yeah. Anything else we want to chat about before we wrap up special Friday episode up?
Real quick,
Lawala.
the 180s are great. 180 scouts, 180 hand cannons, they're both great.
180s are kind of fun right now. I'm kind of vibing them.
I think that they aren't overpowered, but they insert themselves in the meta, one way or another.
I sort of prefer them with kill clip.
Mhm.
But that's
The box breathing jury is really good too. I played it's funny you were talking about Jade Rabbit. I played a Jade Rabbit, 2 Jade Rabbit players. I got him like every single time with that box breathing hung jury. It's out TTK'd him.
And if you have a 7th Seraph revolver 180, check your vault right now to see if you have one with timed payload. If you really want to troll somebody, 180 RPM hand cannon, timed payload, thank me later. Super troll mode, very fun. And I think that's it. Another episode in the bag, boys. Let's do that whole spiel where we tell people where they can find us when we're not here on the show. Cammy, where can the people find you?
Bro, I'm going to sleep. Twitter.com/CammyCakesYT. Let's go with that one.
Sounds good. Cool guy, what about you?
Cool Guy Games on YouTube and Twitter.
Drew?
Here on the podcast.
Beautiful. Love it.
Twitch.tv/Drewskis.
Okay. And then you can find me at youtube.com/FalloutPlays and twitch.tv/FalloutPlays. So thank you very much for joining us, and stay safe, and we will see you next time. Peace.